Gerry plays his second land and passes back.
Reeks of a Grizzly Salvage to me. I can smell it from here.
Yeah. And we're going to see a Scursdag High Priest from Bruce and a Grizzly Salvage from Gerry Thompson at end of turn.
5 cards are going to be 2 Temple Gardens, a Godless Shrine, a Grizzly Salvage, and a Restoration Angel.
Yeah.
So Gerry's version of this deck, a little bit different here. So what he's doing this weekend is, of course, Drunk Reanimator needs to change because of Scavenging Ooze. There are also other reasons that it probably needs to change, but he's got 4 Lockstone Smiters in his main deck.
And there you have one.
There's one. He's got 3 Putrefieds in his main deck. He does have 3 Unburial Rights. He only has 4 I say only, but he only has 4 Salvages and 2 Mulches. So he's not as graveyard dependent as the deck used to be. He does have the 3 Rights in case he plays against decks that don't have Scavenging Ooze, like the Shuck Aristocrats deck. But it's definitely a different version of the deck.
There you see a Desecration Demon come down from Bruce Mills, and so far that card has done some work on camera. I mean, we are only 1 round deep, but the demons have come out to play. Now Gerry here on his 4th turn is going to play.
It's a Putrefy.
Didn't quite see, yeah.
Putrefy to get the demon out of the way and come across for 4. Interesting here that he cares more about taking care of the demon than the High Priest.
Yeah, very interesting.
Our last match, we saw Michael Rooks kill that High Priest immediately every single time.
So Smiter gets in for 4. Bruce now swings in with his High Priest, follows up with a Doomed Traveler and a Lingering Souls.
If you guys are wondering, how does Bruce's list line up to Brad's? Bruce is a little bit different. Yes, he does have the 3 copies of Desecration Demon, but he has a Young Wolf, where Brad has moved on to Avacyn's Pilgrim. Bruce does have 4 Lingering Souls, where Brad has 2, and then there are 3 Garrett Relentless main deck here for Bruce, where Brad's are in his sideboard.
So Bruce, a more classic version?
Yeah, I would say a much more classic version, yeah, outside of the addition of the Demon.
Gerry's going to swing in here with the Smiter, and Bruce looks like he's going to take it, dropping to 10 life from that Smiter. Gerry at 17, 4 lands, does not play a 5th land, and passes back to Bruce. We know Gerry has that Restoration Angel, which I imagine we'll be seeing at the end of Bruce's turn, or possibly as a mugging during combat.
It could be a little combat trick action. In come these guys.
Traveler, Spirit coming in from Bruce Mills, and Gerry says, "Wow, yeah, I'll take 3."
Yeah, I mean, can't really try to go about mugging him just because of the High Priest activation. It'll kill a creature, it'll turn on Morbid, and then a 5/5 demon will get pumped out.
Flashback Lingering Souls from Bruce adds a couple more spirits to the board, and there's a Young Wolf. See, Howling was what Flores and I used to do when the Huntmaster would transform. So there you see the Restoration Angel, end of turn from Gerry Thompson. Follows it up on his 6th turn now with an Avacyn's Pilgrim and a 2nd Smiter, and passes back. So Gerry building a board state as well. We've got Gerry at 14, Bruce at 10. Gerry with Restoration Angel, double Loxodon Smiter, Avacyn's Pilgrim. Bruce Mills with 4 spirits, a Young Wolf, a Doomed Traveler, and a Scursdag High Priest. So Gerry being wary of anything that might trigger Morbid here and allow Bruce to make demons. And of course Bruce on the plan to try to trigger Morbid so he can get a demon.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that Bruce can do here is he can just move this guy sideways. The attack is, for lack of a better term, foolproof or idiot-proof or what have you, because, he can just attack however he wants to here. Gerry can't block because if he does, a 5/5 demon's going to come into play. So he's going to turn some of his creatures sideways. You see 4 of them come in here. Yeah. And this kind of, if we rewind to a couple turns ago, where Thompson putrefied that Desecration Demon immediately, got him with the Smiter, and that was his turn. Well, now that High Priest is sitting around, it's looming, and now that's being a bigger problem than anything. And so you see Mills now is going to play a Garrett Relentless after combat. Now he can fight something and actually make a 5/5.
Yeah, one way or another, he's getting a demon, it looks like.
Yes.
So he is going to fight that Avacyn's Pilgrim, and
wow. He does not make a demon.
Interesting. I thought that was the plan. Tunnel vision for the High Priest activation there, but he does not make a demon.
I'm a little bit surprised. Maybe just a slight misstep there, not making a 5/5 demon right now.
Yeah, I don't see another way for him to trigger Morbid during Gerry's turn.
So, okay, I guess here's the issue. If you look at Mills and he's at 10, okay? Let's say that he does fight that Avacyn's Pilgrim, he makes it a 5/5 demon, and then Gerry just goes Putrefy your demon or Shadowborn your demon and swing in and kill you. So this actually looks a little bit better to me of doing that, because if Thompson has any removal spell, then it's over.
Right. So there you see Gerry with a Shadowborn Demon, the latest demon on the block, and you see it right there, a 5-mana 5/6 flyer. When it enters the battlefield, destroy target non-demon creature. So there you see, he wouldn't have been able to Shadowborn the demon.
Yep.
But another removal spell would have worked. Instead, he takes out the High Priest and swings in with both Smiters. Mills blocks with a couple of Spirits. And so Gerry at 8 life, Bruce at 10. And Bruce now with Young Wolf, Doom Traveler, and 2 Spirits, alongside a Garrick, the Veil Cursed, with 2 counters, and 4 lands. Gerry Thompson with a Restoration Angel, double Smiter, and Shadowborn Demon.
Demon, a 2-of in Thompson's main deck this weekend. Checking the sideboard, there are no additional ones there, but Shadowborn Demon, a card that, you know, has done some things for Junk Reanimator that it could not do before. Can Unburial Rights it, can, you know, mulch or Grizzly Salvage into it, and it's just nice to be able to actually find a removal spell that you can Unburial Rights back and kill something.
So you see Garrick makes a Death Touch Wolf. Bruce is going to play a second copy of Skursdag High Priest to replace the first one that he lost to the Demon, and pass back with no attacks.
Yeah, it looks like Mills is on the defensive to me here. As Thompson's going to sacrifice the Lockstone Smiter to the Shadowborn Demon on the upkeep. Yeah, Mills is definitely going to be on the defensive now. Of course, you know, that's not the worst spot for him to be in, because he does have the ability to play a little bit of defense. Garrick can pump out some wolf tokens, maybe do some tutoring, what have you. He's got some chump blockers and lingering souls. So this isn't a terrible situation for him. It's not great, but it's not terrible.
So, Angels and Demons into the red zone here for Gerry Thompson, and we're going to see Lingering Soul jump in front of the Demon. A Tragic Slip on the Angel, which does die because the Morbid triggered by the Gerry's Shadowborn Demon sacrifice during upkeep. So Angel gets tragically slipped, and Gerry follows up with a Thragtusk. Gerry up to 13 now.
Mill's going to play his only card, which is an Isolated Chapel. And again, I don't think that he has any really good attacks. I think Thompson Pain right now, by the way, Joey, is an Unburial Rights and Angel of Serenity, I believe. Angel of Serenity, only a 2-of in Thompson's list this weekend. That card's been going back and forth on how many to play, because the format's so different than it was 3 months ago. I wonder if Mills can attack here at all. I mean, I guess the one thing he can attack with is just like the Death Touch Wolf. You know, he also has to put in consideration of, you know, am I going to sacrifice anything to Garrick the Veil Cursed? Can I even ultimate Garrick the Veil Cursed? You know, what are my options with the flip side of this Planeswalker?
Yeah, exactly. So you can see, there you see the ultimate, an overrun.
It doesn't get activated very often.
No, it doesn't. You don't see it very often at all. So Bruce is going to swing in with 2 tokens. It's a Spirit and a Death Touch Wolf. Not a huge impact, but you're going to see Bruce activate Garrick's +1 and make yet another wolf. So he could be planning on the ultimate, but trying to keep Garrick around here.
I mean, like right now, you know, you see Mills kind of gumming up the ground. He's able to make those attacks with the Wolf and the Spirit token. Thompson really can't block again because of the High Priest pumping out a Demon, the Morbid looming on that. You're going to see Mills take a look at Thompson's graveyard, see what Unburial Rights can do here. But, you know, this game, we're kind of like in this holding pattern right now, as you can see Thompson sacrifice the Thragtusk to the Shadowborn Demon, where if Gerry does draw a land... Okay, so he does not have Angel of Serenity. He just drew Restoration Angel to go along with Unburial Rights.
Right, so he's got Unburial Rights, Restoration Angel in hand. Okay. A Beast token replacing that Thragtusk, of course. Shadowborn Demon and a Loxodon Smiter as his attack or blocking force, I guess. He's going to swing in with the Demon.
He swings in here, and I mean, I wonder where he's attacking.
Yeah, is he going to take out Garrick, or is he going to smash into Bruce? Looks like Bruce has got some sort of play. We're having a little bit of it is off camera. There we go.
Yeah, 5/5.
Oh,
that's what he's
going to do.
That's
pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things we saw the Morbid last turn from the Demon sacrificing sacrificing the Smiter.
Right. So Gerry is triggering Morbid for Bruce during every upkeep due to that Shadowborn Demon. So yeah, the 5/5 from the Skursdag High Priest, I guess, just jumped in front of that Demon there.
Yeah, I think wants to keep his life total high. I think that he just wants to make this game keep going longer and try to keep pushing his Garrick advantage and maybe set up an ultimate with it. Again, not sure how many cards are in the graveyard, creature cards are in the graveyard for Mills. We'll figure that out, exactly how many there are. I mean, there might be 2, it might be 3, but it does end up mattering quite a bit how many are down there to see how good the overrun actually is.
Right, it might not be that great of an overrun. He draws a Desecration Demon on his turn here. So Bruce Mills at 10 life, Gerry at 11. We've got fairly even in that area. Board state, though, Bruce with a ton of guys, but Gerry's guys are all pretty fat.
So 2 creatures in the graveyard right now for the
For Bruce.
For Bruce, yeah, for the overrun. If he wants to go that route to everything, we get +2/+2 and trample. The Desecration Demon, a pretty interesting draw step, but one of the points you kind of want to highlight here is raw power versus synergy. The Junk Aristocrats deck is, of course, a synergy-laden deck with all these little dorks and these doofuses and all these things that it does. As you're going to see Mills sacrifice Doom Traveler right now. We're going to turn on the Morbid here. You're going to see an active. You're going to see in response Thompson going to cast a Restoration Angel.
And yeah,
okay,
nice response. Going to flash in with that Restoration Angel, blink the Demon, which comes back, deals with the High Priest, and now Bruce's sacrifice of the Doom Traveler resolved, but no High Priest around to take advantage of that Morbid.
Yep. He will get a 1/1 Spirit token from the Doom Traveler so long as he does remember, but the point I was going to make is that you see kind of how the synergies with the Aristocrats versus the raw power of the Junk Reanimator deck, oftentimes raw power is going to push over a synergistic deck like Mills's. We're kind of in this holding pattern of who can draw the more relevant cards right now.
Right.
I think that leans towards Thompson, just because he has cards that he just has game breakers to open up the game, like Angel of Serenity. Grizzly Salvage can get him deeper into his deck with Barrel Right Sense in his hand, all that good stuff. Where Mills, he's trying to cobble together some things to be able to win the game. He does have that Garrick the Veil Curse, which can do some work here because now there are 4 creatures in the graveyard.
So Doom Traveler was the tutor target from Bruce, so very interesting. Sacrifices 1 Doom Traveler to get another, and he's going to swing in with 2 Death Touch Wolves. Locks it on Smiter, will get in the way of one of them, trading for a token there, and Doom Traveler as the follow-up alongside a Desecration Demon. So now Bruce has a fatty on board of his own. Passes back to Gerry, who's got Restoration Angel, Todd Anderson, Beast token, and a Shadowborn Demon.
Doesn't have to sacrifice to the Demon now because he has enough creatures in the graveyard. Draws Arbor Elf for the turn to go along with the Unburial Rites. Interested to see what he's going to Unburial Rites, if anything. He does have 6 mana, so he can cast both spells. And we know he has a Thragtusk down there in the graveyard. I'm not sure if there's a Restoration Angel down there, looming or not either, to maybe blink the Shadowborn Demon and kill something else. One thing he can't kill is a Desecration Demon.
Right, which is the big target on the other side of the board that he'd like to deal with. I believe there's definitely a Restoration Angel in the graveyard for Gerry.
I think he's just kind of realizing that it's funny to me that with Planeswalkers, we always talk about the ultimate on Planeswalkers and how, if they actually get active, the game is over.
Right.
And we rarely ever talk about the ultimate on Garrick the Veil Curse.
Yeah, because nobody really ever uses it.
Yeah, and it's an ultimate that's a -3, so can we even really call that an ultimate?
Right.
You're not really building very heavily to it, but right now, in this situation that we're in for this game, that's the thing. That's the main thing that Gerry has to think about right now is how do I beat this ultimate of what looks to be +4/+4 and trample on all the creatures.
Yeah, Gerry doesn't have a clear way to attack it. Plays an Arbor Elf here, and now
so you take a look at the graveyard.
Doing some
there.
math maybe, or taking a look at Bruce's graveyard.
I think that I think that he might be thinking, okay, I actually need to attack this Garrick, but I need to clear the Desecration Demon out of the way, so I need to sacrifice something to get it out of the way, which is where I think Mills is happy to be in this situation.
Yeah, it's an interesting spot. So it looks like he's going to go ahead and Unburial Rites on this Angel, hopefully dealing with one of the flyers, and then sacrifice something to deal with the... so that's what he's going to do, is Restoration Angel, blink the Demon, kill a Spirit, and now probably sacrifice something to tap down the Demon, or is he passing the turn?
Looks like he's going to pass. Okay. I thought that might be the play too, where he maybe sacrifices the Arbor Elf, clears the Demon out of the way, and then starts to attack the maybe attack the Garrick and get off the board, but that's not actually what he does. I'm a little bit surprised by that.
So Gerry, with all of his blockers available, decides, I guess, to use the Arbor Elf as a sacrificial lamb there on defense.
Sure. I guess I could see that because, like, okay, so there's, I think there are 4 creatures in Mill's graveyard right now, so everything's going to +4/+4 in trample, so you use Arbor Elf to actually be a removal spell for the Desecration Demon for the turn.
Right.
Instead of using it offensively, you can use it defensively, and by doing that, he's actually going to play more turns in the game, and then maybe Unburial Rights next turn to get Thraktus back. Or, maybe next turn. Maybe next turn what we see is Shadowborn Demon, that effect, sacrifice the Restoration Angel, and then Unburial Rights it and blink again. Blink the Shadowborn Demon, kill something else.
Right.
A lot of options here for both players, honestly.
Yeah, so both players at 10 life. Bruce Mills has a Garrick the Veil Curse on 3 counters, so he is able to ultimate it with what we believe is 4 creatures right now in his graveyard. So that's a pretty hefty overrun. Looks like he's not going with that plan, though. He's going to go ahead and make another wolf. I'm sorry, no, he's doing a tutor. Tutoring. Sorry. And he's going to find a Blood Artist, sacrificing that Doom Traveler. So Bruce's board now, again, the Garrick is on 2 counters. He has a single Death Touch Wolf, I believe, 2 Spirits, Desecration Demon, and a Young Wolf, along with 5 lands. He's got a Blood Artist in hand now. Gerry Thompson's side of the board, double Restoration Angel, Shadowborn Demon, Beast Token, and Arbor Elf. So, wow, really, this is a weekend for the demons to make quite a showing so far. We've seen Desecration Demon and Shadowborn Demon making quite the impact so far. We're a round and a third deep here into the StarCityGames.com Open Series live from Baltimore.
So it looks like Mills' hand, he does have the Blood Artist, of course, that he did just tutor up via Garrick the Veil Curse. I think his draw step was a Varel's the Scar Strike. So he can actually control the Blood Artist now. I believe that's what he drew. I'm not 100% positive. Okay.
Looks like it to me.
Yep.
So there you see the Blood Artist.
So here's 3 mana.
Here you see the Varels. Scars and Stripes forever.
So what it looks like Mills is trying to set up to me right now is a Blood Artist Fireball.
Yeah.
And so what he does next turn is maybe search up for another one via Garrick and then just sacrifice everything. The problem with that, of course, is that Shadowborn Demon pay the upkeep cost. There will be a Blood Artist trigger that does happen, and so long as Bruce does remember his own trigger, and then Thompson can just Unburial Rights back the Restoration Angel, blink the Shadowborn Demon, and get that stupid Blood Artist off the board.
Right, which is exactly what just happened. You saw the trigger, Gerry at 9, Bruce at 11, and Unburial Rights for Restoration Angel blinks the demon and targets the Blood Artist. So that's where we are right now. That is the effect on the stack at this moment. So Bruce doing some thinking.
There could be some merit to maybe sacrificing a couple of creatures here. I'm not quite sure if there is. You could sacrifice Young Wolf to make it into a 2/2 and get a point of
Another
life
trigger,
off of that. Yeah, I can get another trigger off of that. It looks like he's going to choose not to do that.
So he gets another Blood Artist trigger off of the Blood Artist itself. Goes to 12. Gerry
Thompson goes down to 8.
Yeah.
So what kind of attacks are we going to see from Gerry this turn?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question, if he can make any at all.
Right.
I don't know how much he cares about Garrick the Veil Curse now.
Right, because he can't ultimate next turn. All it can do is tutor because it's a -3. I'm sorry, the most threatening thing it can do is tutor.
Sure. Somehow that's... I don't know how... I'm unsure how threatening that even is right now.
Right. So Arbor Elf is going to sacrifice here at the beginning of combat to tap down that Desecration Demon, leaving Bruce with 2 Spirits as flying blockers.
And Bruce says you can't attack with either of those flyers, actually, because Restoration Angel came back from Imperial Rights and Shadowborn Demon got blinked.
Yeah,
I think that may have just messed up Jerry's turn badly.
Mental misstep from Gerry Thompson. It's not the first time we've seen Gerry Thompson with a mental misstep.
Yeah.
But usually it's blue cards involved. At least one particular blue card.
That is surprising, because I thought he could actually get him with a lot more creatures.
Yeah.
And now a draw of Blood Artist for Mills, and now he's going to sacrifice a creature. He's going to sacrifice Young Wolf. Undying is going to be on the stack, and he's going to get another Blood Artist and then fireball him out. So Bruce Mills wins game number 1 here over Gerry Thompson.
Yeah, capitalizes on that little misplay by Gerry where it seemed he just forgot that a couple of his guys were summoning sick.
Yeah.
In fact, forgetting that 2 guys were summoning sick, pretty big deal. Like he had double Restoration Angel, Shadowborn Demon. It looked like he was trying to attack with all 3 and went, wait, Angel's new. One of those angels is new, and the Shadowborn Demon was just blinked by the angel, so that's summoning sick too. So 1 Restoration Angel gets in, or can attack anyway.
Yeah, gets jumped out by a token, and then Mills draws a Blood Artist, which allows him to get to the 2nd Blood Artist via tutoring, and wins that game. Now, a lot of people at home are probably very familiar with the player on the left, and Gerry Thompson, not familiar with the guy on the right, who's normally wearing an SCG Judge shirt.
Yes, that is normally wearing the shirt next to him.
Correct. Bruce Mills head judged the Star City Games Legacy Open in Somerset, our largest Legacy Open ever. Works for Star City Games. He's a level 2 judge as well, so normally he is not in the trenches, but you can certainly see that he judges because he was able to immediately point out that, yes, those guys have summoning sickness, and knowing how everything works and having a pretty good understanding of his deck and the game state over the course of that entire game, and not being fazed by playing against one of the best players in the Open Series ever in Gerry Thompson. I love the way that Mills played that game.
Yeah, he played it very well. Didn't being very aware of triggers. You didn't see any missed Blood Artist triggers. I know there weren't that many opportunities, but you see that a lot. Players even with the Blood Artist forgetting to get a life to a trigger here and there.
I think he knew exactly what he wanted to accomplish over the course of that game. Again, could have overran at some points in the game, chose not to, chose to move Garrett up from 3 to 4, and then down from 4 to 2, and stuff like that. So I pretty impressed with the way that he played that game, being up a game over Junk Reanimator and Gerry Thompson. We'll go to the sideboard. We'll start with Gerry, and I'll let you take a look at that first to see what he can do to turn things around.
All right, so Gerry Thompson playing 3 copies of Unflinching Courage in the board, 2 copies of Tree of Redemption, a card that I haven't seen that one very often. It's starting to pick up a little bit.
A touch.
A little bit. Tree of Redemption there. 2 copies of Obsidat, 1 Cauldron of Souls.
Cavern of Souls.
Cavern of Souls. I'm like, what is Cauldron of Souls? Sorry, misreading the handwriting there. Cavern of Souls makes a lot more sense. Pithing Needle, a Slayer of the Wicked, 2 copies of Liliana the Veil, and 2 Abrupt Decay. So, quite a lot of life gain there, making some concessions to those red-green decks.
I kind of like Unflinching Courage in this matchup, just being able to push over those ground guys. I think an Unflinching Courage on a Loxodon Smiter is actually a real game plan in this matchup. It forces the hand of Tragic Slip from Mills' side. If he doesn't have that, he's going to have a lot of difficulty actually stopping a 6/6 life-linking Trampler. Obsidat's fine depending on how long the game goes. If the game looks like the last one did, things get gummed up. I actually think Obsidat's pretty good. Slayer of the Wicked actually quite good here as well.
Yeah. Nice,
Again, that replicate perfectly fine.
Nice 1/8/7 spell there.
Yeah.
Slayer of the Wicked.
Mills' sideboard, 2 Abrupt Decay, an Appetite for Brains of Duress, 2 Lifebane Zombies, 1 Obsidat Ghost Council, 2 Pay No Heed, an M14 card, 1 Brave Revelation, 3 Scavenging Ooze, 2 Sin Collector. Scavenging Ooze, of course, going to come in, 3 of those. You can also expect to see 2 Lifebane Zombies coming in. Brian Bronduin saying that is the best card against Junk Reanimator, and part of the reason that it fell off the map for him. Lucky for Brian, it looks like Lifebane Zombies actually trending downward right now.
Yeah, that's the first we've seen it so far this weekend in 4 decks that could have played it.
Yeah.
All 4 decks playing black.
Yep.
That we featured so far.
Feels like that card is trending a little bit downward right now. It was easy to put in a Jund at the beginning when it was released and people gave it a try, and it certainly is a good card. But by playing that card, you have to cut something from Jund, and I think that what ends up happening is that Lifebane Zombie is somehow the worst card of the options for Jund.
Yeah, which is strange.
Yeah.
But that's how the format fluctuates. You see, like Brian Kibler's deck saying, I play Thundermaw Hellkites and Hellriders.
Yep.
I play green creatures. If you want to take any of those guys, that's fine. But the real baddies of that deck are red creatures.
Yep.
So just not as many juicy targets for Lifebane Zombie. At least not in the very popular. Of course, the Rad Cusk is always an option. So anyway, we're underway. Turn 1, Arbor Elf from Gerry Thompson. And a turn 1, Godless Shrine from Bruce. Passes back.
Gerry with a lot of basics. I mean, he's drawn 2 of his 3 forests. I don't know how many times you see that many
He's got
of
a
them.
mulch here. Finds a Godless Shrine of his own on his main phase and plays it, passes back.
See a Grizzly Salvage, a Cavern over there, a Forest in his hand. Not sure what else he's got hiding, but it looks like
Voice of Resurgence.
looks like he's got some work to do.
Scavenging Ooze to play on turn 2 from Bruce Mills. Passes back to Gerry.
So now it looks like Thompson's trying to at least represent a Restoration Angel right now. He could also have he could have double Grizzly Salvage.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a Restoration Angel is there. I thought I saw a Smiter, but I think it may just have been Grizzly Salvage. So on Bruce's third turn here, it's going to play Woodland Cemetery. And it's going to swing in with the Scavenging Ooze.
Takes a look at the graveyard, sees Restoration Angel, sees multiple Absence Pilgrims as well, so saying, I can, if you have a Restoration Angel, I'm willing to go to battle. Now, what Thompson's trying to do, obviously, is he's trying to get Mills to tap out.
Yeah.
Because, he has Restoration, or he has Grizzly Salvage in his hand. He actually has 2 of them. So he could double Grizzly Salvage into a big Unburial Rites turn if Mills does tap out for something, which he does do. So the window is open due to Varels being cast.
Yeah, and there you see Grizzly Salvage number 1, showing us an Arbor Elf, Thrag Tusk, another Grizzly Salvage, and a Restoration Angel, as well as a Godless Shrine. And the Thrag Tusk goes to Gerry's hand, and I believe we see Grizzly Salvage number 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got Shadowborn Demon, Restoration Angel, and 3 lands.
Yeah, I think Demon is the easy take.
Yeah, Demon goes to Gerry's hand, so Gerry able to draw 2 very impactful cards there at the end of Bruce's turn, and then draws Vault of the Archangel and plays that as the Shadowborn Demon to take out the Scavenging Ooze.
So that's actually, we talked about impactful draws, and I actually think that Vault is a huge draw. Think about how good Vault would have been the last game.
Yeah.
If he had ever drawn that.
Quite a lot of Death Touch going on, and Lifelink.
A lot of Death Touch, a lot of Lifelink. I think that would have been a huge deal. Didn't know he had one of those looming. Again, you see that card sometimes in Junk Reanimator lists, not all the time, because it is kind of this like color-heavy deck when you've got Angel Serenity, you've got green cards, you've got Arbor Elf, which requires a certain number of forest, and you've got Shadowborn Demon, which is, a black card. It requires some certain things from your mana base, and you can't always fit this card in. Same thing can be said of Gabby Township as well. But Gerry's found room for 1.
So Bruce, for his turn, plays a Doom Traveler and a Blood Artist and passes back.
Also, that Shadowborn Demon, another thing too, is he doesn't have to sacrifice anything because of those Grizzly Salvages.
Right.
By a couple of creatures. He has enough there in the graveyard. Mills is going to sacrifice Doom Traveler, it looks like, to make a Spirit right now.
Yeah, trying to just buy some more time. He's at 20 life, but still would like to stay there if possible. So, Spirit token from the Doom Traveler gets in the way of Shadowborn Demon, and Gerry's post-combat play is a Thrag Tusk.
Thompson doing a lot better this game because now Mills is underneath the gun and needs to actually get to the part of his deck where he actually starts to build those synergies up.
Right.
He needs to get that board position to where he wants it to be so that he can actually start doing what he did last game, which was just gum things up and then eventually win via Blood Artist or via some other avenue of victory. Right now, however, he's staring down a 5/6 flyer and a 5/3 ground pounder.
So his play for the turn is a Voice of Resurgence and a Lingering Soul.
That's what we're talking about.
That'll do nicely for Bruce Mills to protect himself from that Shadowborn Demon. And so Gerry untaps, draws another Thrag Tusk for the turn.
Yeah, but again, I think that, if you're Mills, you're happy with the direction this game is going in. Now, you'd prefer not to see like a Restoration Angel come down on that Shadowborn Demon or anything like that, and the entire time you're trying to fade Angel Serenity while you're playing this game, but, you're doing a nice job of just gumming things up the best that you can.
And gives him a lot of time to build those synergies that you mentioned.
Yep.
So Thrag Tusk and Shadowborn Demon coming in. Bruce is going to block with a Spirit in front of the Demon and a Varels and Voice of Resurgence in front of the Thrag Tusk. So Spirit dies, Voice of Resurgence dies, Varels regenerates there.
So we'll have Elemental token coming in just a minute, and then there's the Beast token from the Thrag Tusk dying. So now Bruce is just starting to do some blocking, trading some resources to get Gerry's resources off the board, hoping that like an Unburial Rites doesn't really show up to the party or anything like that.
Looks like we're looking for an Elemental, there it is. And that second Thrag Tusk comes down for Gerry Thompson, so Gerry going back up to 24, following a few of those Blood Artist triggers, knocking him down to 19, and then the Thrag Tusk gaining him some of that life back.
Yeah, I mean, I think the trade is the name of the game here.
Sure.
For Mills, just use his resources to trade off with some things. Vault makes it so that trading is a little bit difficult, but he just needs to clear Gerry Thompson's board up so that he can get at parity, or at least, or try to get ahead.
Right.
But he just wants to get the board to parity so that some of the synergies can take over. There's a Lifebane zombie. You're a little bit late.
Yeah, and she sees a forest in Gerry's hand. Looks like a flashback Lingering Souls is the play here from Bruce. And you mentioned Vault. Bruce not having really to worry too much about Vault for the last 2 turns, but knowing now that Gerry only has Forest, that Vault's going to be online depending on what Gerry top decks. Or does he have an Unburial Rites in the graveyard? I don't think
I do not believe
seen
so.
one.
No.
All right, so Bruce Mills at 22, Gerry Thompson at 24. We're a long way from the end of the game here, but Bruce is going to go ahead and swing in with that Elemental.
We're looking at like a 6/6, yeah.
Bruce with 2 spirits, Lifebane Zombie, Barrels, Blood Artist alongside that Elemental.
And again, this being a 6/6, it means that Gerry would have to trade off 2 of his resources. He could double block with, a Beast Token and Thorac Tusk, leaving with the Beast Token behind. But, what Mills just wants to be doing here is he just wants to be whittling away at Gerry's board. If Thompson does elect to make that double block, for example, he'd be left with a Beast Token, and that Elemental Token would be gone, but there would also be a little bit of Blood Artist chip damage as well.
Right.
So he's just whittling away at things here and trying to fade some big draws from Thompson, as he does draw an Unburial Rites, as you mentioned. He didn't have one yet, but he does have one now.
So Gerry does take the hit from the Elemental, goes to 18, and the Unburial Rites is the draw for Gerry Thompson. Gerry Thompson's side of the board is Thrag Tusk, Beast Token, Shadowborn Demon, and Arbor Elf. He does have Vault of the Archangel, a very relevant land here, and Gerry's going to swing in with all the fatties. Demon, Beast, and Thrag Tusk.
I mean, this is a pretty loud declaration to me that Gerry just doesn't like the way that this game is going, and he needs to actually clear up some of Bruce's stuff now, too, so he realizes that he needs to get through. He's going to have to take 3 damage from Blood Artist, and Mills is going to go up to 25, but he realizes, I think, that he needs to just get through this wall of stuff that Mills is putting in the way.
Yeah, so 3 spirits go away from Bruce's side of the board, but Bruce at 25, Gerry now down to 15. Forest is the play from Gerry, and Unburial Rites.
Jason Collins, Luke Higgins, please come to the stage. Jason
Gerry
Collins,
finds Restoration Angel, the target for Unburial Rites. It looks like he's going to blink the Demon, deal with the Blood Artist.
I think that's like a really interesting choice too. Do I want to blink that or do I want to blink Thrag Tusk? Because I think you can make the argument for blinking Thrag Tusk there of saying, okay, I'll blink Thrag Tusk, I'll get 5 more life, get another 3/3, and keep putting more power on the board and keep pressuring you to shorten this game out.
Yeah. But instead he just puts the kibosh on the Blood Artist entirely, which in the long run could gain him a lot more than 5 life.
Yeah. Yep.
So Bruce's play there looked like a High Priest.
It's another. I think it's another Blood Artist.
Another Blood Artist.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's actually really important that Gerry did kill that other Blood Artist that turn, because if he didn't, he would have gotten fireballed out via Varels and double Blood Artist again.
Yeah, that was how the first game ended.
So that was a huge draw of Unburial Rites there for Thompson last turn, being able to blink the Shadowborn Demon and take care of the Blood Artist. He's got another one to deal with now, but I think he'll be able to do that depending on how many creatures are in the graveyard.
So it looks like Bruce is going to take a peek at Gerry's graveyard, knowing that Unburial Rites is there and active. So what can happen next turn? Same thing, actually. A Shadowborn Demon blinking, or Restoration Angel blinking Shadowborn Demon to deal with Blood Artist is a very likely play from Gerry next turn.
And there are 6 creatures in the graveyard again, so Shadowborn Demon is okay. But again, we got a 6/6 Elemental coming across here into the red zone. I could very easily see Gerry just chump blocking here. He could double block if he wants to. Yeah.
And that's what he's going to do. He's going to go ahead and double block with Restoration Angel and Shadowborn Demon.
And double block here is nice, right? Because this is a 6/6 Elemental token that's coming in, and whichever thing dies here for Thompson, he doesn't mind. Because, okay, that dies, all right, I'll just Unburial Rites that back. You kill the Restoration Angel, all right, I'll get that back, blink the Shadowborn Demon, take care of whatever I need to. So it's win-win for him.
Exactly. So you see the Elemental goes away, the Restoration Angel sticks around, Shadowborn Demon goes to the graveyard. Gerry's draw for the turn didn't quite catch it, but We know that Unburial Rights on the Shadowborn Demon is a very likely play, and it looks like that's exactly what he's going for.
It's a pretty good place to start.
Yeah, so taps 4 mana, changes his mind, decides wants to think about this first. I believe that may have been Elvish Mystic,
yep.
the one Elvish Mystic in the deck. So there you see. Flashback Unburial Rights. Goes for that demon, kills that Blood Artist. And Thragtusk and Beast declared as attackers from Gerry Thompson. And there's the follow-up Elvish Mystic. It better be good, says Gerry, so we'll see. I don't think this is the ideal place for it, but, you know, it's a body.
It's better than nothing.
Yeah, so Bruce Mills, for his turn, now with a Lifebane Zombie, 2 Spirit Tokens, and a Varels in play. His play for the turn, slightly off camera. I'm not sure if that was a 3rd Blood Artist or it was a flashback, or he's flashing back Lingering Souls, but there's a card that's up off camera that I can't quite see.
Might be an ooze. Yeah, Scavenging Ooze.
It looks like Scavenging Ooze to you? Okay. Yeah, it does look green, actually, now that I get a little bit better look at it.
Yeah, now he's thumbing through him. It's another good draw for Mills. One thing to keep in mind here, too, as you know, we look at this game and how it's going and how it's progressing. As you see, there's going to be an ooze activation here, which might actually make it so the Shadowborn Demon's going to have to go bye-bye, or things are going to start getting sacrificed. But we look at how this game is progressing, with Mills trying to gun things up and Thompson trying to overpower him with his better cards. Mills is at 30, Thompson is at 9.
Yeah, that's relevant.
That's incredibly relevant information because, again, Mills is just chipping away with Blood Artist activations and drains and all that fun stuff, but Gerry Thompson has a long way to go to actually getting Bruce Mills dead, which means that Mills gets to see more draw steps, more draw steps over the course of this game.
So you see, looks like this is the trigger from the Shadowborn Demon. It's going to sacrifice that Elvish Mystic. Gerry draws for the turn. Now, keep in mind, he does have Vault of the Archangel to get some lifelink action happening to keep himself from dying, but other than that, it's looking like it's going Bruce's way.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's got this lifelink action, but Mills has a Varel, so however Mills wants to block, you can just go block, sack both guys.
Right.
So you don't actually get to gain any life because it's lifelink and death touch, not lifelink and trample, which would be way too good on a card. So, you know, he's able to do that, and that's exactly what he does, which is block with a spirit token on each guy and sacrifice them both to Varels. I think his sacrifice may have been a little bit hasty.
Right.
Because I think he wants to make it so that he activates
the vault?
The vault, yeah.
Right.
So I think maybe a little hasty on the sacrifice, wants to make it so that Gerry actually does activate it, so that's his turn, because now Thompson can use the vault defensively, if he wants to.
Right. Now Bruce is going to go ahead and activate Ooze, gets rid of a Restoration Angel.
And hey, this was the reason that Junk Reanimator's been a worse deck. Yeah.
Right.
A lot of people make the argument that it was Lifebane Zombies, others make it that it was the argument for Scavenging Ooze, and you can see that, you know, the combination of the two is probably the real problem.
Right.
But Scavenging Ooze on its own is an actual problem for Junk Reanimator. And you see it going to work right now, making it so the Shadowborn Demon's not insane, gaining Mills life, and also making him a very, very big threat that he can attack with over the course of the game. And he draws it and plays a big threat in Desecration Demon.
All right, there you see another Desecration Demon on board. Pretty surprised at how many demons we've seen so far today.
Yeah.
So Shadowborn Demon's upkeep trigger, sacrifice of Arbor Elf from Gerry Thompson, and his hand looks like Loxodon Smiter and another Arbor Elf. Is that what that looks like to you?
I don't think it's Smiter. I think it's much worse for him, actually. I think it's Obsidat.
Oh, okay.
I think it's Obsidat that he can't cast.
Just caught the gold. All right, Gerry with everybody in. Oh, Bruce says wait, combat. Trigger or pre-combat trigger of Desecration Demon, so Gerry I guess says okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Lifebane Zombie gets in front of Thragtusk.
When you have a vault, you don't really care. I don't
Right. There you see Desecration Demon in front of Shadowborn Demon, Scavenging Ooze, which is right now I believe a 4/4 or a 5/5. It's 4/4. Gets in front of the Beast token. Actually, it looks like he's rethinking that.
I think he realized that he might want to change his blocks because of Vault. Because he was kind of quick to block, but now he realizes that if he blocks this way, he's going to lose a lot of stuff. You know, he put the Desecration Demon in front of the Shadowborn Demon. He put the Ooze in front of the Beast token.
Yeah.
And now he's slowing down drastically, realizing that, hey, there's a Vault of Against lands that's going to give Death Touch. Am I comfortable losing all of these things?
Yeah, so here you go. He backs everything off, puts the Spirits in front of the big guys. So,
it's a wildly different block now.
Yeah, so Restoration Angel and Beast Token unblocked. Gerry goes ahead and activates the Vault. You see Bruce sacrifice both Spirits to prevent the lifelink.
Still going to gain 5.
Yeah,
Or still going to gain 6, excuse me.
Right.
Still
The
gonna gain 6.
Restoration Angel and the Beast Token still connect with the lifelink.
Yep.
And then you see an Arbor Elf as the post-combat play from Gerry. So Gerry should be up to 15 here. And Bruce at 24. Bruce just lost a couple of Spirits in the exchange.
You see
and a little bit of life.
Thompson plays the Arbor Elf post-combat. I probably plays that post-combat to be able to control the Desecration Demon. Let's sacrifice something that's a little bit weaker. The rest of his cards are much better, so...
Actually, I think Bruce should be at 18,
Yeah, I think
right?
he should go down to 18.
So Bruce's side of the board is Desecration Demons, Scavenging Ooze with 2 counters, a Lifebane Zombie, and a Varels. Taking a peek at his own graveyard.
Might be time for a little scavenge action.
And yeah, he's going to go ahead and... actually, yeah, so here he scavenges the Doom Traveler onto the Lifebane Zombie.
He's going to try to tap differently, see if Gerry and the judge is okay with that, which I think we're okay there.
Interesting, there are actually 2 different kinds of scavenging action that Bruce can do.
Yep.
When you said scavenge action, I thought he was removing Doom Traveler to make the Scavenging Ooze a little bigger, but...
I actually like that, you know, he's moving in on his Lifebane Zombie. It having Intimidate means that he can push through some damage here. He's making his Lifebane Zombie into a 4/2. Now it looks like he might go up to 6/4 Crawl Worm range, perhaps?
Looks like it. Doing some math here.
Alright, so he's going to put on the Varels. So he's going to make Varels into a 4/4 by removing that Voice of Resurgence. So we're looking at a 4/4 Varels, a 4/2 Lifebane Zombie, a 4/4 Scavenging Ooze with all 3 green mana open. So you're removing some stuff, so threaten that into a 7/7. And now Thragtusk is going to get sacrificed to Desecration Demon. Beast's going to come into play. Demon's going to become a 7/7. You gotta have dice ready when you play this deck, I guess.
Yeah, seriously, a lot
I don't
of
ever
dice.
bring dice to tournaments, so I guess I just can't play this. Unless I have
not.
nice opponents.
So that was the Desecration Demon trigger we saw. Now Bruce is going to take a peek at Gerry's graveyard. Still doing some math here. I'm not sure if we're still in potential declaration of attackers here. It looks like that.
Yeah, so we're at the beginning of combat. Desecration Demon's trigger was put on the stack. It resolved. Gerry sacrifices Thragtusk, gets his Beast token. Demon becomes tapped and becomes a 7/7. And now here comes the Ooze and the Lifebane Zombie. And Varels, he wants to get in. He wants to run a maze.
Looks like he's just going with Scavenging Ooze and
Coward.
Lifebane Zombie.
Coward.
And
Varels on defense. Boo.
We're going to see the Scavenging Ooze activated to remove the Thragtusk, and Bruce says, what else you got? Also remove that Restoration Angel. If you want to Unburial Rites a Mana Dork, you go right ahead.
Yeah. 2 more life, too. Pushing himself up to 20.
Yeah. So Bruce now at 20, Gerry at 15. And Gerry's going to take 10 from the Scavenging Ooze Lifebane Zombie combination. Gerry really on the back foot here, down a game with less than 7 minutes remaining in the round. Basically at this point fighting for a draw.
Yeah, I mean these games get gummed up, and we get ourselves in situations like this quite a bit. You see Thompson draws a Temple Garden.
Does that allow him to cast the
It
Obsidian?
will allow him to cast the Obsidian. Yes, that'll give him a 2nd white mana along with that Sun Petal Growth. He'll have to take 2 to do it. And it'll keep Thompson's life at parity. It'll keep him at 5,
Right,
down to 3 up to 5.
Lose 2, gain 2. Yeah.
And then Mills will go down to 18. But again, if that's Thompson's turn of casting Obsidian, I don't think Mills minds that very much, because that means that a Vault activation is not happening. And
Yeah.
I think the Vault activation right now is probably better than Obsidian coming into play.
Right, no spirits around to sacrifice this time.
Yep.
He's going to actually have to lose something more significant if he were to block or sacrifice. Actually, right now it's just Varels, but as far as like blocking, but he can't block, so it's just going to be a bunch of lifelink. All right, so Gerry takes a look at Bruce's graveyard. Bruce with 1 mana available. Jerry's gonna move into combat here. He's gonna swing in with everything but 1 beast token. So he's swinging with a beast, an angel, and what is that glare?
The Shadow Warning.
The Shadow Warning.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Okay.
So
And
the
there you see the Vault activation.
Which I thought I had a feeling we were going to see. So he's going to gain 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 life.
That's
Who's
a pretty
going to
big,
remove something?
pretty big chunk of life there.
Yeah. He plays Temple Garden past and passes the turn back. So he's got 1 beast back on defense, which I have a feeling is going to get in front of the Scavenging Ooze that is so very large.
That's a big ooze, yeah. 7/7 right now, threatening to get bigger. Plenty of targets for that ooze.
Once again, that is time.
Just checking the graveyard. A bunch of 1 mana 1/1s that produce mana in Gerry's graveyard. Not anything too spicy, but it's plenty for the ooze.
So there goes a beast token for Desecration even. In comes Mills with his dudes.
And yeah, you can see the second beast token looks like it's about to get in front of that ooze. So Lifebane Zombie and Varol's threatening to get in, so that would be 8 damage for Gerry, so Gerry should drop to 8 here.
So looking at 8 to 10 with Mills having the ability to just keep moving up because of Ooze. And Gerry will have to sacrifice something here because what Mills can do now is I think he can remove enough creatures in Gerry Thompson's graveyard
To get rid of the restoration.
to make it that Gerry does have to sacrifice something. You see Gerry going to fan out how many creatures he has in his graveyard, which is 5. So now, yeah, the demon is going to force a sacrifice on the upkeep.
So here we see Gerry untaps. Here we have the upkeep, and Restoration Angel has to go. Obsidat is the 1 card in Gerry's hand. He draws what looked like
Another Shadowborn.
Was it another? Okay. So that's a pretty decent draw. It's going to deal with something, but is it enough?
Yeah, so he gets to clear out the Ooze now, which is actually pretty good. You're going to see Mills take a look to see how 2 Shadowborns work together.
Yeah. How does that work?
Yeah, because like both of them go onto the stack.
Right.
When Shadowborn enters the destroy target this, and then you have to sacrifice a creature. So we'll see how many creatures in the graveyard. It looks like Mills is just going to remove them all. So what happens is 2 Shadowborn triggers go on the stack, so he'll have to sacrifice them both, I'm pretty sure.
That's what it looks like to me as well. You see, he'll have fewer than 6 because Bruce just removed them all, as you mentioned. And both triggers will cause Gerry to have to sacrifice both creatures to each other.
So it's good for Thompson that he does remove, or that he kills the Scavenging Ooze. That's a good thing. This also makes it so the attacking is a little bit more difficult for Mills. But he's still in a pretty bad situation here.
Yeah, he gets in with 1 demon. Knocks Bruce to 15.
Yeah, and the reason he gets in with the 1 demon is because he has to sacrifice something to Desecration Demon anyway.
Right.
So you might as well get your damage in, and he has to sacrifice the tapped one for Desecration Demon because he has to control that moving forward. Mills kind of fumbling through his mana.
Yeah.
Feels like a spell to cast. A spell to cast or scavenge.
Looks like a scavenge.
Okay.
Gonna make the Varol's a 6/6 here.
Not sure what he wants to get +2/+2. All right.
Looks like he goes with that. Gerry goes in and moves the die for him up to 4. So another scavenge here to make the Lifebane Zombie a crawl worm. And it looks like, is that a Cartel Aristocrat in his hand?
Either a Cartel or a Varol's.
Desecration Demon trigger. That is a giant demon, but it is tapped.
And both of these creatures beat the Shadowborn in combat.
Yeah, so Shadowborn Demon trades with the Lifebane Zombie. Barrels in for 6, knocking Gerry to 2. And there's the Cartel Aristocrat from Bruce post-combat. So Gerry untaps here. Has that Obsidat. It's going to not really be enough.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be enough either.
You can go up to up to 4, and that's it. Yeah, so Bruce Mills takes the game and match 2 games to 0 versus Gerry Thompson with Junk Aristocrats over Gerry's Junk Reanimator list. On the back of, I think, Scavenging Ooze being the very impactful card that game. I think taking away Gerry's options, also making his own Shadowborn demons, making Shadowborn demons worse